Hello, good evening, ladies and gentlemen, and welcome to the JACKOCAR All-Star Race for 2021. And we are here for the first time racing in Saudi Arabia, looking forward to what should be a very entertaining end to 2021. A big year for the league, of course, and we've done a lot of fantastic things, and I hope all the drivers here are in for a good race. I'm certainly looking forward to covering it, and with me will be joining once again after the Championship 5 last week. He decided to come back for a little bit more. Gareth.
Well, yeah, so nice. We'll do it twice. Thanks very much, Owen. And yeah, I've managed to oust Jacko from the commentary box and get myself a seat alongside you. So looking forward to this one. As you say, it's been a big year for JACKOCAR. It's been going from strength to strength. The stream's been getting some really good numbers. Hopefully, we'll see that increase as the years go on. And yes, well, what's this second annual All-Star race? And hoping to be another absolute thriller at a circuit that none of these guys will have raced here in JACKOCAR before.
Yeah, I mean, obviously, there's nothing much in terms of stakes for this one tonight. Jacko does have his Hall of Fame that he'll stick a winning driver from this into. But for the grand scheme of things, I think a lot of the drivers are just here for a bit of pride. Some of them, it will be their last races in the league. I think Cam is one of them who, yeah, maybe he forgot this race was happening because he was very eager to get out of his last race last week, and here he is again. And then you got others like Arnaud, who I think is a bit undecided whether he's going to come back or not after his Championship 5 loss. I hope he comes back. Maybe tonight, if he wins this, it'll sort of give him the energy to come back again. Because, yeah, it should be a decent sort of season for him if he comes back next year. But
yeah,
we'll see how they all do.
Yeah, I think the Cup Series is shaping up to be pretty tasty next season if Arnold does come back, and hopefully he does get that Stockholm syndrome and just feels like he can't leave. But yeah, you don't blame him for feeling a little bit disheartened after that Championship 5 just a short week ago. I'm sure some of the wounds still a little bit sore for some of these guys. Of course, very chaotic end in both Kia and in Cup. Of course, Kia going right down to the final, or to the final of the C5, with Niels winning the chase and going on and winning the C5. And obviously, if you managed to tune in to last week's race for the Cup Series, well, it was a final 2-lap dash to the flag, wasn't it, Owen? And we never quite knew who was going to be winning it.
Yeah, it was definitely quite a tense one. And obviously there's a bit of drama that happened during it, which always does tend to happen, I suppose, with this league. But yeah, definitely very interesting to watch. And we'll be seeing the first driver out on track today was the one who ended up coming out as the first ever two-time champion for this league. And I'm sure he will not boast about this in any way, shape or form for the next season. And that will, of course, be J. Luke, so we'll be waiting for him in a second. Well, the reason we haven't got a car out on track yet isn't just because the timings tend to be wrong, but it is also because we only have the 19 drivers tonight. But here he is, Jamie coming out of the track. I think, is that the livery he ran last week? To the title.
I believe it is the blue and the white.
Yeah, so he's sticking with what works. And, well, a bit of a realm into the unknown. I'm wondering if Jacko's picked this track for the All-Star race as a bit of a sort of a taster session. Will he bring this forward to a Championship 5 spot next season? I suggested it to him. He says he fancies it being more of a playoff race, but I reckon if we have a good one tonight, I could convince him that this should be a Championship 5 spot, because I reckon this is the perfect track for it.
It's definitely a perfect track for putting the best drivers out there and getting them to work to their absolute maximum and limit, because well, when Damon Hill said that it's Suzuka with walls, and I think it's a little bit worse than that, actually, because I quite enjoy driving around Suzuka. I'm not quite up to speed with this one yet. It really is a driver's circuit. You've got to trust the car, you've got to trust yourself, and I imagine I've done a little bit of practice, because I'm not sure about you, but I tend to get lost around halfway through this lap.
Well, do you know, I'm not sort of on the lost side. This is one of my favourite tracks on the game, actually, but I am hopelessly slow at it. That's my one big issue. But, yeah, definitely a decent track for those who can get themselves running nicely. I particularly like that 22-23 section, such a high-speed chicane. You really got to be committed through there. And it's also a very fun track in the rain. I don't know what the likelihood is of rain tonight. I'm not really looking at the chat because I don't want to be spoiled for the weather. But, if we do end up with some changeable conditions, it's certainly a fun track for that as well. Now, Jamie is doing his celebration for his championship last week, because he never really got a chance to do this, I suppose, and so before his lap begins, He's treated us to some donuts. He's also heating his tyres up very nicely, I must say.
Let's hope he doesn't get into the top 10, because those rears are not going to be too happy. But out celebrating, it is a lovely livery. I do like the clean white, blue and black look, but well, those tyres are going to be nice and warm, and he now heads down the main straight. Does he peel into the pit lane and give up on the lap? No, he's going to go with it. So first lap on the books will be going here for Jamie, of course, your series champion in Cup from a week ago. And well, we're here at the Saudi Arabia Grand Prix, the Corniche Grand Prix, the fourth most turns in F1 history, only behind Nordschleife, Pescara and Sherrard, the German, the Italian and the French Grand Prix in yesteryear. And it really is a circuit that these guys have to be right on the limit with, as you see Jamie flying his way through the first sector and coming up to one of the overtaking points on lap, and that is, of course, up here into the left-hander, slightly off camber, and these guys will be sending around here in anger in around about 15 minutes time. But Owen, it's a pretty tidy lap so far.
Well, he's forgotten to use his DRS on both occasions. He's not using his ERS either, and now he's just cutting the corners, so I'm not really too sure what he's doing. I suppose he maybe fancies a run from the back of the grid, but we will still give him his screen time as a champion, because I mean, the way he did win the title, wasn't it? I mean, it was with a couple of corners to go where Kyle got his damage. We never really got to give him the fanfare that he deserved, so he's had his donuts, and yes, we'll watch the rest of the lap with him, but then we'll move on to someone who might actually be trying next time. He's even run out of fuel and everything as well. He's done everything here to ruin his lap. But yes, we will cut away from him now, because we do have another lap that is on. If I can find him, there is Matter, and he has one win in the Cup Series. You might well remember it back in Singapore in Season 3. It looked like the race that Janel was going to win in the rain, but on a late restart he spun it in the first chicane. Only 2 laps to go, I think, and it gave this man his only win. I think he was reserved that day, so it didn't bring him into a championship fight or anything. It was just a one-time victory. Perhaps he'll try and make it 2 tonight as he sets the first lap time of the evening. It's a 1:30.196. I expect we'll be going a bit faster than that towards the end of the session, but that is of course assuming that everyone gets their laps done.
Yeah, and that's the key here, because effectively if you set a lap you can probably gauge at around about, well, probably I'd imagine 4 or 5 people will be invalidating. It's very easy to do so, and one of those that's hoping not to do so is Quinn. He's out there on his lap at the moment, and well, he's going to hope to set a time fast in that 1:30.196, and the driver that took the victory in Azerbaijan in Kia, as he uses audience ICAP, doesn't cut there, so that's a nice little tip for anyone that's watching, that you can cut that corner quite nicely. But Quinn flying here, lovely new livery for him, of course, the speed driver who competed in the 24 hours of F1 just a few short days ago. He's going to go deep, yeah. And there is that invalidation that we thought might be coming.
Yeah, he's pushing his luck there, especially with that first chicane. You sort of felt that was coming when he got away with it once. Danny, who is a Kia Series race winner and a Championship 5 appearance back in Season 2, so he's got pace, but yeah, that's a valuable lesson learned about your chicanes. You can't cut them like that, but he does still know to finish the lap. It would have been fastest, although with the amount of corners he didn't take, maybe that's not such a surprise. Jamie Griffiths, the winner in Italy this season, of course, the smallest winning gap of all time, and he's now gone up to P1 with a 1:28.9, so that is the benchmark. A bit of a quicker benchmark than we were expecting him to be a bit quicker than that, even still. But look, it's a difficult track. Perhaps that could still end up being in the fight for pole position. We'll just have to wait and see as we move on to Jake, who is a 2-time Kia Series race winner.
Yeah, he is indeed. He won the opening race of the season in Japan, and had a fantastic run there, I believe, on his Joker, and then unfortunately got eliminated in the playoffs. However, took a victory at Bahrain as well. So 2-time this season in his debut season. JACKOCAR has done very nicely indeed. Very tidy driver, knows where to put the car. He's had a couple of issues, missed a couple of races, which probably cost him a position in the Championship 5 that ended up, I believe, going to Camo Babo and then to Quinn due to Camo not being available. But into the final corner comes Jake, and what can he do, as he'll open that, of course, DRS flap very shortly, and that's going to send him down to the line, and the man from Barnsley goes into 3rd position.
Yeah, Yeah, definitely people are struggling with these laps. Perhaps it isn't a surprise, I guess, but yeah, I think if you get the lap properly hooked up, it could be a pretty decent bet for a high position as we watch Vitinho. He will still be feeling the hurt from Austria, missed out on the playoffs on countback with a last lap overtake that he just wouldn't believe. And yeah, we know he's definitely got the pace. He is a winner in the Kia series, all the way back in season 1, so we know he can win, and we know he's definitely a handy driver. And we'll see if he can put himself anywhere on the leaderboard. It's going to be P2, but it's still a whole second off where Jamie's at the moment. And
Yeah,
now the
that's
big man himself coming up.
Yeah, I was just going to say, as Jacko out there who's decided to put all the colours on that car for tonight, as he's going to come up to the line very, very shortly. It's looking as though it's tracking to around about a 129. If he can get across the line, it is a 129.862. Puts him up onto provisional front row. However, plenty more people due to come out of the box. We'll see where Jacko ends up in around about 8 minutes and 20 seconds time.
And of course, Jack, he hasn't done much in the F1 side of things, but he is the NASCAR Season 1 champion, which I suppose isn't a surprise considering his league is all based around being a bit of a NASCAR hybrid, so you'd expect him to be good at the NASCAR stuff. Now, Yuri, or as I like to call him now, the Alex Rossi tribute band. Unfortunately, he's gone off the road, but you can clearly see the inspiration for delivery there. One of my favourites. He always goes for the Alex Rossi ones, and he's a 4-time winner in the Kia series. I believe he's coming back to the Cup next season though, so might get used to seeing this guy a little bit more on the Thursday nights. But unfortunately, it's another invalid lap time.
Yeah, it is. At the same corner, I believe that we saw Quinn invalidate as well. So the two speed drivers so far going off at the same fast corner around the backside of the lap are very difficult. It's probably the most difficult corner on the lap to get right because you're really going at it with anger. But Yuri, as you say, looking to move up to Cup next season, and definitely a tenacious driver. Well, unfortunately, it's going to be a harder start. He's going to be in the mid-pack for this one. Who else have we got on circuit? We've got two big hitters making their way out now. Casper and also Redmat's now making his way out on circuit.
Yes, Casper, I think he won from pole, it was, in France this season. He isn't a full-time driver, but he certainly has the pace for it, and I must say, that's a superb livery as well. So, if he ends up racing a bit more next season, I'll be looking forward to seeing what he comes up with, and it looks like he could be coming up here with a P1, and it is indeed 6/10 clear of the next car, so it's looking decent. It's looking decent for him so far, but we'll see how we keep going. Of course, this isn't necessarily going from faster driver to slower driver, as you would see for other qualifying systems where it starts with the slowest drivers quite first, and then the faster drivers later on. Really, anyone could be on pole. Redmat, you'd expect him to have a quick lap time. He has definitely been one for getting pole positions in the Cup Series this year. He's also won in Hungary, as well as being part of the Championship 5, and was certainly on for a very good result there until it all sort of fell away for him, unfortunately. He's gone P3, but certainly he has got some race pace. We saw it in USA last week when he was so close for the title, and like I say, it didn't quite work out, but he certainly is one to watch for tonight, I'd imagine.
Yeah, absolutely. Second in the Cup Championship this season. Didn't quite work out for him in the end. His strategy wasn't quite to favour, but the man looks like he's running a Mercedes EQ Formula E race style livery tonight. Is currently P3. We've got a yellow in Sector 3. Is that for a slow car? But we've still got the likes of Kieran out on the circuit. Of course, orange and green livery flying his way around the second sector. And, well, plenty of drivers yet to come. We've still got the likes of Connor Arnell still to come out. Cam, Khalifa, Kyle. There's still plenty more that can potentially make moves in this one. MK Bourne is out there as well. And Mike, who, of course, took victory in a reserve race in Singapore. And Kia, who just invalidates on that lap here. So he adds his name to the list of invalidations for the opening start of this qualifying session. So, well, 128.3 is the benchmark at the moment. Do we see anyone dip into those 27s?
Oh, Kieran certainly got close. Kieran's had one or two decent qualifying this season in the Cup Series. Obviously our chase champion for Season 4, but not a bad grid spot to be for now. As you were saying, we also have the invalidation of MK Bourne. He's been here from the start. He was in the Championship 5 all the way back in Season 1 when he stuck it into the pit wall in China, and he's had a few other achievements as well. He's won races in the Kia Series, the Rally, the NASCAR. Only driver to win in everything that is available, so pretty much the only thing after that is to go for the big championships. But unfortunately, nothing going to be happening today with his qualifying lap. So we'll move on to Connor, who is next up. Now, Connor is the NASCAR Season 2 champion. So Jack was Season 1 champion, this is the Season 2 champion. And we'll see how he gets on. Trademark purple as he comes through. And we will see if this is anywhere near the top. He's had a few reserve appearances this season. I wonder if he'll be more of a full-time next season as well in the Cup Series. But he's gone P3 for now.
Yep, Connor, who also, I believe, took a podium in the Kia Series at Monaco this season as well, in second place. So, yep, good lap there from the man in purple. Puts himself up onto the second row of the grid alongside Jamie, and that's going to demote Red Matt down into 5th position. We've got yellow in sector 1. Is that for a slow-moving, I believe that might be for a slow-moving MK Bourne. It is on his in-lap. So that's leaving Kyle now out on circuit, and Kyle and Cam are both circulating. Cam, who's got an invalidation to add to his... to add to the growing list of drivers, unfortunately can't keep it between the white lines, but Kyle now on a fly as he comes around towards the back end of the lap.
Yep, Cam, who has got stats, he's got 1 win and he's been back-to-back playoff appearances, Season 3 and Season 4. Might not be seeing much more of him though. He has said he'll leave, but guarantee you he'll be here at the start of Season 5. He'll find his way back in, I'm sure, but Jacko's got his ways. Now, Kyle, Mr. Unlucky from last week, Mr. Unlucky from Season 2 as well, because he really should have a championship by now. He's a regular season champion of Season 2 in the Cup Series, and he has 9 Cup wins. Surely he's the next in line if Arnaud doesn't come back to be on for a title, because there's no way someone as quick as him hasn't got one. He'll get one eventually, but let's see how he does with this lap in particular. As he comes up to the DRS zone, it's looking decent so far. Can it be our first 27? Oh, not quite, but it is still up in P1, and we only have 4 more drivers to go now. All these drivers have plenty of experience being in the, higher echelons of the JACKOCAR Cup Series, but unfortunately for Corey, he's got an invalid lap.
Yeah, that is unfortunate for Corey. Of course, the last time we had an all-star race, he was your all-star MVP, winning that one ahead of Armel and Kyle. Kyle, who was my tip for the Cup champion, and unfortunately, as you say, just missed out that. The interesting thing tonight, Owen, is him and Pete. Is there going to be a little bit of afters after that? I'm sure Kyle will be feeling a little bit sore. We'll see how Pete qualifies, because he's out. He'll be out for his lap shortly.
Well, he's not in the lobby. He's not in the lobby. I think he left earlier, and judging by the fact he's not out on track yet, must mean he hasn't been able to come back, because he's by far missed his slot. So that would suggest that he's actually out of it, which means we only have 2 more people to talk about. Pete, our Season 1 Cup Series champion. Arnaud, he's crossing the line. Let's say, I'm sure this isn't the last we're going to see of him. He will find his way back eventually. It's a bit like when Jamie left after Canada last season. He came back and won the next championship. They don't leave for long. And this guy has got plenty of accolades. He is the F2 champ. Remember we did that 5 race season? Bit of a shambles, but he did come out as the champion of that. And he was the Cup Series regular champion this season, and also in Season 1. So he's got plenty to go off of. He's also done the very impressive feat of winning from the back of the grid 2 races in a row. So he definitely knows his way around the track, and let's say he will be back. We'll make sure of it. And he'll be going up against Khalifa in these last runs. Khalifa, I mean, we know these possibly the 2 fastest drivers we've ever had in this league. But let's see how Arnaud gets on first. He's keeping it all green so far, and nothing invalid.
Yeah, just making his way down, well, pretty much full throttle now until you get to this slight kink. This is the tricky one. It's going to catch everyone out tonight, and he uses it very nicely indeed. No invalidation there, and foot flat to the floor for Arnaud as he fires his way up towards the final corner. Can we see potentially our first 127? He's got to get this bit right. We saw Max Verstappen get it wrong, but Arnaud looks as though he's rolled the car out right. Gets back on the power. DRS will be open very, very shortly for that short run to the line. It's going to be, surely it's a 27. It is. It's a 27.4. 0.6 of a second faster than anyone else. Khalifa invalidated. That means Arnaud's on pole.
Yeah, that's a real shame to see Khalifa invalidating, but it just means he'll be able to come from a bit further down the grid. And yes, it does mean that by 0.6 of a second, Arnaud has got pole position here in Saudi Arabia. And that was a an odd qualifying session. I suppose we expected people to struggle, but only 4 drivers were within a second of pole. I mean, really, only, let's be honest, about 10 representative laps, because Jake must have had some sort of errors and has to be 7 seconds up. And then the rest, all invalidated, or if you're Pete, didn't even get a chance to go. I'm not sure we'll even see him on the starting grid. And even if you do, you know in this game it'll put him in spectator mode. I'm pretty sure that's what happened to one of the drivers last week. But we'll see how it all goes. We're just waiting for the session to end really now.
Yeah, and well, we'll see if someone does ready up, because otherwise we'll be sitting here for another 2 minutes, so plenty of time for us to fill. But yeah, the invalidations is tricky here, because I feel this is one of those circuits where it's not quite like your Imola's, where people enjoy driving it in their spare time, doing TT around there or doing GPs, and this is more just going to be those that have practiced it, and clearly Arnell's had some time to practice it, and the likes of Kyle as well, and Casper and Kieran, and well, you really don't want to get caught in the mid-pack here, especially down towards turn 1 in that opening sector of the race, especially on simulation damage. This could, if everyone isn't particularly careful, could end up in tears a la Formula 1.
Yes. We've certainly seen F1 show the ropes and how to crash in this place, but one thing you always need to know is that this league, these drivers will find ways to make even F1's craziest accidents look tame. So this place could be mental, especially if we have any interesting weather coming up. But the grid then for the All-Star race in 2021, it is Arnaud, followed by Kyle and Casper, Kieran, Connor, Jamie, Redmat, Jacko, Patino, and Matter. They will all start on those softs, assuming it's a dry start. Jake, and then NK Bourne, Jamie, Pete, Khalifa, Cam, Quinn, Corey, and Yuri. They will all get their free tyre choice. And we should be in for a very interesting race indeed, as we wait with anticipation to see what the weather's going to do for this race start. I've driven this track in the rain a couple of times. It's very much a fun track in the dry or the wet, so I don't really mind what comes up. The drivers, though, I'm sure they'll be praying for a nice dry start, but let's see what we're going to get here as it all readies up. It is a dry start, so the drivers breathing a bit of a sigh of relief there, I'd imagine.
Yeah, I can imagine as they get their strategies ready. I'm sure, well, maybe Jacko's had something in store while setting up the lobby. We might see some changes. You'll have to stick with us for the rest, or the next 45 minutes or so, as we complete this All-Star race, the Ford JACKOCAR, and celebrate what has been a fantastic year for the series, and hopefully 2022 is more of the same, with 27 seconds left to go in this one. We've got 3 drivers from Kia. We've got Quinn, we've got Yuri, and we've got Jake, and then of course we've got 16 from Cup Series, and well, they'll all be thundering down. It's a bit of a trundle here down to a very short turn 1, and it's that awkward left right at the start of this race that might catch a few out. But well, Owen, early predictions on the doors. Arnell, well, a big gap in qualifying. What can he do in the race?
Well, it's the classic really for this. Is Arnaud going to end up horribly unlucky once again? I have a feeling with Kyle on the front row, there's a potential for that. They might get a bit feisty between those two, because they must be 2 of the drivers who feel like they just don't have any luck. So we'll be both hoping for that Hall of Fame spot. But then you got Casper, who found himself winning in the one opportunity he had earlier on in the season, and you still got Kieran, who I'm sure will still be, crying about the likes of Japan, and we know what his tactics are like, because we saw him conveniently crashing into the wall twice in the same place within about 10 seconds. It's remarkable how he managed it, and it brought a safety car as well, and then suddenly he was able to drive out of that wall and into the pit lane. Just fascinating tactics from him. So I'm sure he'll find his way up to the front at some point tonight. And then obviously you've got the likes of Khalifa and Corey, who we know what their pace is like. Cam as well, they can certainly find a way in the mix. Jamie was aiming for the back of the grid, and he failed, so he's probably already in a better position than he thought he'd be. But yeah, I mean, really anything could happen with the walls so close and with how aggressive these guys are, and as you say, with simulation damage, I'm kind of fearing the worst here. But let's see what happens.
Yeah, we're in store for a bit of a treat tonight, of course. 27 corners here for the Saudi Arabia Corniche circuit. 25 laps is a circuit length of 6.1 kilometres. And, well, it's going to be Arnaud on pole, Kyle alongside him, Casper and Kieran, your front two rows, with Connor, Jamie, Matt, Jacko, Vitinho and Matt, the top 10, Jake, Mike, Jamie, Pete, Khalifa, Cam, Quinn, Corey and Yuri rounding out the grid, with the two speed drivers down in 17th and 19th, so a lot of work to do for the pair of them, and Yuri, who will have the bit between his teeth. I know that he can overtake. He's shown it plenty of times in Kia this season. Of course, wins in Italy, Brazil and in Belgium, after I've got my win taken away from me, which I'm still salty about, but we'll give it to Yuri, who's had a pretty spectacular season. Just didn't quite go right for him at the end, but are now rolling into his grid slot on P1 here for this all-star race for JACKOCAR. Make sure if you're liking it, if you're enjoying it, sorry, make sure you like the video, and hopefully you're all having a great afternoon, great evening, wherever you are watching. And Owen, I'll let you take us away for this, what should be fascinating opening lap.
Oh yes, I'm very much looking forward to this one. And as they all line up on the grid, just time to remind you, of course, that we are still going to normal JACKOCAR rules. Everyone's got to do their 2 stops, safety car restarts will have to be done properly, everything's got to be done the normal way. Try telling them that though. We've got 5 lights and we are away in Saudi Arabia. Who's got the best start? Who fancies a dive in towards turn 1? Alright, it's pretty good. There's already a big one happening further back.
Big crash. Khalifa is out already. Unfortunately got turned into the wall, and that's a VSC, which surely will turn into a safety car. There is debris strewn all over the circuit. I'm just trying to see who he collected, because there's surely someone without a front wing. That's well, unfortunately Khalifa just got turned into the wall, and it is still a VSC, so no full safety car as of yet.
Yeah, a few people having accidents under the VSC, but I don't actually see a missing front wing, so it might just be even a loss of traction for Khalifa. I've seen Quinn and Corey have got a penalty for hitting each other, and that there was a collision between Cam and Pete, but that had no penalties. Cam did get a broken front ring from that though, but it does appear that, well, whatever happened to Khalifa, it's put him out of the race, unfortunately, straight away, as we go green once again. Arnaud not getting called out by Casper now, who runs second place. He did get Kyle just before that VSC, and we got Kieran trying to get Kyle as well, as we all head down towards turn 22 for the first time. The big hotspot for accidents in the real racing world. Let's see how they all get through here, because a lot of people struggled on their qualifying laps. There's a big bump as well on the way through 24, which you've got to be worried about. But they all seem to be making it through there relatively unscathed, and yeah, you can see Cam falling to the back. Is Casper going to go for any moves? That last corner is massive dive bomb potential, but nothing at the moment. We've got Quinn and we've got Jake, they're fighting away, and let's see how they go through this final hairpin. Staying relatively far away from each other, not risking too much, as the fight for the lead. Is Casper going for it? Oh, he's into the back of Arnaud. That's not really ideal. And no major damage, but on simulation you're lucky if you don't get even a little bit of light green damage for that type of thing. But he certainly seems very, very eager, doesn't he? Is he under steering, or is he okay? I hope he's alright.
Yeah, it looks as though it's okay. It was a very, very light time. As you say, could have been light green, as Arnaud goes a little bit wide there. I'm expecting penalties to be a real factor tonight with whoever takes the victory in this one. We've seen 8 drivers invalidate in qualifying, so it shows you how easy it is to run out wide. Corey picked up a pit lane speeding penalty on his way in, as Casper almost slides his way around the wall. Well, this is a prime racing if you're watching those that like to. It's like Monaco on the old game, where you could basically just run around the walls at the lowest hairpin. But Casper still closing in. It's Finland versus Belgium at the front of this one. Kyle behind them, still sitting in the slipstream. He's got Kieran from company as well, as the top 5 have now broken away from Jamie just outside of DRS. Of course, DRS activated on the next lap, but Casper, can he close in on R now in towards the final corner on this one? It looks as though he's within striking range. Is it close enough to make a move, or will he think about it down the straight? No, he's having a pull, but isn't going to think better of it. Pulls in behind and surely will line him up into turn 1.
Yeah, it's weird that he hasn't gone for it yet, because he's used up his ERS, and you can see that he's running low fuel, So it certainly seems to be someone who wants to get through into the lead quickly. But as you can see, he's not been able to manage it. And once again, he's broken really deep into turn 1. That a possible warning for later on, but he's got to get the move done at some point, or else he's going to be wasting his time a bit. A few more fights happening in the midfield. You can see Jacko under a bit of pressure from Jamie. And he's just got overtaken by Matter as well, so he's going to lose 2 positions in one go. Didn't seem too upset by losing that spot though, Jacko, but he has fallen back a little bit. Cam and Corey did get back on track okay, but as you said, Corey did pick up another penalty as he sped. And we've got Jamie now in the wall, no front wing. That could be safety car, it's going to be virtual safety car. And that will give Casper a chance to get some of that ERS back again. And perhaps save the fuel as well, because you can see he's got that yellow warning light on. And yeah, we'll see how this goes. It's going to also stop DRS opportunities for a little bit. Now you'll have noticed that DRS zones are on the wrong place on the game here, because they're meant to be a DRS here, but there isn't one where we're watching Casper, and they've stuck one at the end of sector 1 where there wasn't one in real life, so they've got to fix that, which that might help Arnold a bit. But yeah. Oh, look at that! Casper's nailed that perfectly. What a restart, straight through. Absolutely nothing Arnold's going to be able to do about that. I think Casper, that is superb. Was riding on board with him for that, and he just floored it at the perfect moment.
Yeah, caught Arnold napping there, and Arnold, unfortunately, now has to sit behind him, and he's going to come straight back at him. We're going to go around the outside, so if Casper's going to... In fact, he's got the move done before we even get to turn 1, so that only lasted for around about 600 metres or so, that lead for Casper, but he's now dropped back down into second position. Kyle's still holding off Kieran. That yellow flag, as you say, for the VSC has been cleared. There was hopefully that debris disappeared. It was slightly offline, but of course, if anyone gets that wrong, that is an immediate puncture, and a puncture around here is pretty much a death sentence. So these guys will be coming around here in anger for the first time very shortly with the green flag underway, but there's a 3-second penalty for Vitinho. He is down in 9th position with Jamie for close company behind. It is Arnold, Casper, Kyle and Kieran, your top 4, with Connor now with them. They've broken away by what, 3.9 seconds to Redmat, so what's happened to Redmat is miles away.
Well, that'll be probably because of where Jamie was when he crashed. Rayman would have been the one right behind him, so I wonder if he's had to put the brakes on when that's happened. It's possibly cost him some time. But yeah, this top 5, that is going to get interesting, because they're going to be fighting, aren't they? There's so much DRS on this track that they can't possibly not end up fighting, as Casper opens that rear wing up once again and just drags this whole train up to Arnoud's rear. And Arnoud holds firm, but it's going to leave him in a bit of trouble as he heads through onto the main straight, as I think Jamie's had another accident. He's recovered it though, but down towards turn 1 again. Casper with DRS this time will pull to the inside line and will retake this lead unless Arnold's got anything to say about it. He might just tuck in though, knowing that he can get some DRS later on. In fact, he's already going for the exit as they head through to the chicane. That's a really tricky spot to go for a move, but he's going to make it stick, Arnold. Back into the lead. Bit squirrely on the exit for him and for Casper, but there's nowhere to get any advantage out of this. So they're just going to have to sit patient, because there's a DRS zone coming up just now on the exit here. And if anyone has a bad run, like Casper's just done, there could be a potential for a move. Kyle, not quite close enough. He has a look, but sits in 3rd place for now. Decent fighting though. That's aggressive stuff in Sector 1. And oh, look at that, another slide for Casper. I wonder if we got a bit surprised that Arnold came back from so soon.
Yeah, I was thinking that it was a very brave move from Arno. You have to have real trust and faith in your opponents to do that, and credit to Casper for giving him the room. But Arno's now managing to break a little bit of a gap, because Casper's now under threat from Kyle and Kieran. Kieran sitting there with the most amount of ERS, sorry, than anyone else in this lead 5, and he's sitting quite nicely by Kyle, just letting these guys in front just drag them along. No need to expel any more battery, but Casper is making the attack, surely, or is he waiting for DRS? There you go, he's waiting for DRS, and surely we'll see these two trade position once again. But look at this lead 5 streaking their way down the main straight. What, about a second and a half between all of them?
This is fantastic stuff. Here comes Casper back into the lead once again. Arnoud, will he be able to try and pull the same trick on Casper as he did on the last lap? We'll ride on board, let's see. I don't think he will this time, but that does mean he gets 3 DRS zones to re-attack. this is why I have a feeling this track could be good for a Championship 5, because you can keep following people around here, and look at how close this whole pack is,
Well,
and how competitive it is.
I'd also say the rain is falling, Owen.
Yes.
The rain is coming down. We saw that ominous flash. Now this is a race to the pit lane, surely. So this 5, it's Casper's going to go round, surely, and he does. And is that going to get in the way of everyone else? So that's going to allow Arnau to break away. That is a shame, because Arnau now has almost a 3-second lead, and Casper just got it wrong.
Kieran's
unfortunately,
got as well.
Yeah, that is a and he's going to cut the chicane.
This isn't going to be last week, because this track, when the rain's falling, get ready for action, because this is going to end up probably not. Well, that's going to save them, isn't it? Or is it? In fairness, no. This is arguably the worst thing that could possibly happen.
Yeah, absolutely.
Because they can't pit, and they have to take a restart lap before they can pit. So this track could be in heavy rain conditions or whatever, and they'll all have to be stuck on the dries, apart from Corey, the man who brought the safety car out, because he hasn't got a front wing. So this might well put him into a leading position, a bit like what we saw in Austria this season. But look out for anyone losing it as well. Kieran has got damage, and I suppose he might get away with this pit stop. I'll say he's slightly bending the rules, but there's no stewards inquiries for this one. And I think he has got damage, and it wasn't his fault. I reckon he might get away with this one. I don't think Jet is going to have a major issue with this. But it does put Kieran into a position to win this race. As he comes back out, there's going to be no one else following into the pit, surely.
I mean, this is...
Look how heavy it is.
Yeah, this is exactly what
Jake's
happened.
Jake's got a puncture, so he gets to pit as well. Lucky boy. I never thought I'd be saying that, but the man who's got damage is lucking out here. And
so obviously
Pete.
he's gone over, so he's gone over some debris, and Peter's in with, looks as though he's got 4 wheels on his car, so he should be okay. It is, so that's no wing change, that's just a straight pit stop there for Pete, so that's a bit naughty. But so for those that are watching JACKOCAR for the first time, it is mandatory to stop. However, if a safety car comes out, you are not allowed to pit unless you have a fully red wing, or I believe it's a red wing on one side, so or a puncture. Puncture is a reason you are allowed to pit. So these guys that are now on the intermediate tyres are in exactly the same position that we saw Niels in the Kia Series final, and where he pitted what was effectively far too early, as Jacko goes deep and across the chicane, even at around about 40 miles an hour. But Niels pitted way too early, basically as an insurance policy, and well, it worked out perfectly, because myself and Yuri got caught out there on a completely wet track and slick tyres without being able to pit. So is this going to work nicely for Kieran, because he's now in 12th position, and that 12th, well,
it's going to become P1, isn't it? As long as he doesn't have any accidents with very slow people on dries sliding off the road.
That's the key, isn't it? Because look at the amount of cars in front of him that are going to be just tiptoeing their way around this lap.
I wonder how many might just take a 30-second penalty for an illegal pit stop at this point, because this rain is so heavy. I mean, Arna's nearly stacked it on the final corner onto the main straight. Look at them, they're all losing the rear under safety car, and they're going to have to try and orchestrate a safety car restart in a minute. And I mean, I have no idea how this is going to go. Just on the restart, by the way, of course, there's no grid line, there's no grid slots before the start finish line, so they're going to have to judge this properly. Normally you'd start sort of 2 grid slots behind the start finish line, but instead, for this restart, we'll ride on board with Quinn. I'll try and sort of describe what they're going to have to do. They're basically going to have to restart when they get to that red marker there on the pit lane entry. That's when they'll need to go. But I mean, how on earth do you restart this thing on dries? I mean, that is a big thing for Kieran, because it'll be so easy to break at a normal point and have the rest of the grid tippy-toeing round. And, oh my goodness, it's going to come in this lap as well, I think.
It's going to be chaos. I mean, Quinn just went straight on at turn 1, and he was barely on the throttle at all, picked up a 3-second time penalty. And you've got to feel for Matt in P11. He pitted the lap before the rain started for a new set of softs.
Do you know, that might not be the worst thing in the world, because this rain is set to be inches for the rest of the run. There's a potential that he could make his second pit stop and be done for the day. And it could
That's
be
true.
interested
That
in.
is true.
So it's not necessarily the end of the world. It might accidentally be a masterstroke, but it could so very easily get heavier than this, and you could be on for wets in a minute. It's just impossible to tell because we're missing the entire crossover point, and these guys are going to have the most painful lap of their lives because this is not a short track, and there's not, as you know, as you say, there's 27 corners here, and I just don't see how they're going to get through the fast chicanes without having an accident, and it could be losing a lot of cars in this restart lap. Well, how do you play this? Do you just crawl around and avoid everyone? There's no ghosting, remember, so the likelihood of Spa 98 style pileups here, it's a realistic thing. Now, is this safety car actually going to come in, or since Corey isn't close enough, are we going to have to suffer another lap? Because the longer this thing stays out, the worse this is going to be for these guys. And I'm telling you, that looks like it's going to be staying out, unless it really quickly pulls in now. But it doesn't look like it's going to do so.
No, we're going for another lap. So worst case scenario for everyone, all the way down to Yuri and P10, and poor Yuri is probably going to be feeling deja vu all over again. He's out there stuck on a set of softs on a wet circuit. But well, Arnaut leading away. As you say, it's how do you play this one? It's fascinating because these guys, well, of course they're all fighting for pride. There's no championship stakes in this one, but everyone wants to win here. But as you say, it's the second longest circuit on the F1 calendar. It's only behind Spa until they build the new Saudi Arabia circuit, which is going to be 1 million corners long apparently. But we've got Arnaud, we've got Kyle and Connor, then Matt up in 4th position, seemingly. I mean, he was fighting with Jacko for 11th position at the start of this race. He's now in 4th place. MK Bourne in 5th, Jamie in 6th, Vitinho, Casper after that spin only. He could have been worse, to be fair, for Casper. He's down in 8th position. Jacko is back where he started, I believe, in 9th. You're in 10th. So watch out for Kieran, watch out for Jake, Pete, Jamie and Corey. Corey, who's now on the back of this one, and the safety car surely will be in at the end of this lap, but we've got to now make our way. We've completed half the lap, we've now got to complete the rest of it. And look at the rain coming down. This is very slowly going from tricky driving to almost impossible driving, because you just won't be able to get on the throttle. And well, the one thing we also haven't noticed is the line that these guys will usually use around here involves taking a lot of curb.
Yeah.
Now you certainly don't want to do that as soon as the rain starts.
You really don't. I mean, this is a nightmare scenario. Let's say it's very similar to what happened in Austria. In fact, it's effectively exactly what happened in Austria, and it did lead to all sorts of carnage there. And that's arguably the easiest track on the game to have that sort of situation, and this is arguably the hardest. But the safety car is in now. And so it's going to be all about getting this restart as close to good as possible, because it's disastrous regardless. But as long as you're still in the race by the time you come back round to pit at the end of the next lap, because you cannot pit on the restart lap. That is the rules. They've got to follow it. I mean, if they don't follow it, they'll cop a 30-second penalty. Some drivers might fail. That's worth it. But here we go. The restart is incoming. Obviously, Arnaud's in control of it, but he has to go at the right point. That should be about now. And let's see how we go towards turn 1. You can see Jamie's really nailed that start, but how is he going to get the brakes into turn 1? How aggressive do they want to be as they all tippy-toe their way round? And we see the Season 2 and Season 4 champion trying to get his way up into 2nd place, and I think he might just do it. Jacko's already gone for a bit of a spin, and that's the first sort of casualty of this. Kyle is side by side as Jamie moves up into 2nd position, but then goes straight off the road, and there's a few more losing it as well. And look at that, we're going 2 or 3 wide, all on board with Kieran. I mean, what on earth is he meant to do? Because there's an absolute wall of cars in front of him that he's having to try and navigate. And they haven't even got to the really tricky part, as Matter sticks it into the wall. That might cause a few more cars to pile in. It's definitely 2 or 3 getting involved, but for the most part we haven't lost any cars yet, and I suppose that's kind of a win in that respect. The intermediate runners are getting their way up through the field now a little bit more. Kieran sitting in P6 right now. Arnaud's not really having that bad of a restart lap actually. He's pulled nearly a second clear, but I think he's in a bad corner. He might have nearly lost the back end. Kieran up to P4. Will he be leading this thing by the end of the lap? You'd almost bet he would be. But let's see, this is the most difficult part of the track coming up now. Right on board with Kieran as he quickly catches up. And we'll see how he handles these guys as we have got a few more
Casper's
going on.
gone around again. Casper's gone around. We've had Yuri going into Matt. Yuri, who is really struggling under acceleration at the moment. The wheel all over the place. And, well, there
VSC.
we go. Another VSC.
What? A full safety car. Oh, no.
Oh, no.
They can't pit. They still can't get into the pit lane. Oh, that's disaster. The Matter has no front wing. That's probably why that safety car's come out. And Kieran will be absolutely laughing all the way to the race win at this rate. Look how heavy the rain is. We'll be closer to full wets by the time these guys get to pit. That's unbelievable, look.
We've got full standing water on the exit of the final corner. We are almost in. There we go. There is puddles forming on the circuit. We are at full wet. 100% full wet.
It's full wet, and these guys are on the dries. You couldn't write this stuff. Like I say, thank God this isn't for a championship, huh? Because I think everyone's gonna fancy the pit lane in a minute. Oh my goodness me! I'll tell you what, Matter will be lucky because this is going to be his first stop, and he obviously gets the pit because he's the one who brought this thing out. He goes for intermediates. I'm not sure if that's the right choice, but we'll see. Another driver with no front wing. Red Matt, he's in. And he's making his second stop. So this could be for the win, this. But again, he's electing to go for the intermediate tyres. Yuri and Casper in as well. This is for their first stops. And so they're basically the lucky ones out of the situation. Because they get to make use of the rules. And they all get to change their parts. But yeah, riding on board with Arnold right now, this is a treacherous situation right now. And I mean, how do you deal with this?
I don't know. Obviously, these guys will be getting information from the ever reliable Jeff, but this just looks full wet. Surely,
this is actually getting. I would absolutely say this is full wet conditions at the minute. But there's a chance it'll get lighter after this. You just never know. I mean, Corey must be said is actually the driver sitting pretty est, along with Jamie, because they've already made their 2 stops. But I guess if it is going to go to full wet, then they will have to make another one on top of that. But yeah, oh my goodness. I mean, this is just brilliant, isn't it? Merry Christmas.
And Red Matt's gone around.
Oh, yes.
Red Matt is in the wall. That is another wing change for the man that finished second in Cup.
Yeah.
Under the safety car. We're only on lap 11.
We've still got for him, that.
We've got over half the race to go.
He's going to be devastated that he gets to make another pit stop.
I know, it's gutting, isn't it?
That's awful, look.
It's almost as if he might pit for a set of full wets. Well, Red Matt goes around. Casper is sitting behind him. Of course, everyone under safety car. As we've got Jamie and Jake swapping positions under safety car. I'm not quite sure if you're allowed to do that or so, but well,
just keep it on the road, people, which is easier said than done when half of them are on dry. Well, it is about half of them are on dries. I mean, there actually is. There's no disputing that we're in full wet conditions, but no one's actually on them. So it'll be worth pointing out. Pete is into the pits now. What is he going to choose?
Now this is confirmed.
Blues.
This is confirmed. Pete is under AI, so Pete is AI.
Okay,
so
well,
there you go. The AI has said it's ready for full wet.
That is a pretty clear indication. Red Matt doesn't seem to have enough damage to pit, but that tells us that every single car is on the wrong tyre, because just wow, just wow.
I mean, we look at this is why I love JACKOCAR. This is why everyone that I know that has been watching me this season is loving it, because it just throws you curveballs like you never expect to see. Look at the standing water that we've got on the circuit at the moment, and Arnau, well, to his credit, he's trying to weave to keep some temperature in the tyres. I don't think that's going to work, son, but he goes up in towards, so he's going to be lucky to not get into the back of that safety car in front. But well, Arnau, Jamie, Connor, Kyle and Jacko still yet to make 1 stop, let alone 2. So they've got to make 2 stops in the final part of this race. The first one will be onto a set of 4 wets for sure, but of course we'll see if this wet stays with us for the rest of the race. You've got to think that it will be at this rate. But 2 stop. I mean, Arno, if it didn't have his mind made up after the C5, this one might have just.
Yeah, this isn't doing his return chances very much, is it? Pete just put something very funny into the JACKOCAR Cup Series chat. His AI is going to win the race because it's on the right tyres and it's done all the mandatory stops. Yeah, what a strategy!
Tactical genius.
Yeah, this is just ludicrous. How is this going to go? I mean, there's so much standing water. The spray is going to be on another level as well. Kieran's task is literally get as far away from Arnold as humanly possible. He's got to be ahead before turn 1, surely.
I mean, the wet or the intermediate tyres kick up 35 litres of water a second with the grooves they've got in them.
It's a bad start for Kieran. Oh, Jesus Christ. He's going to get overtaken by Jamie here if he's not careful. But as he goes up the inside, Kieran leading the race. Good luck for the rest of them, because they're all losing it into turn 1. Even the inter-runners are losing it into turn 1. This is absolute chaos. Look at this. They can't get out of the first chicane. Oh, and there's a few into the wall as well. But they're all somehow still going. And Pete's AI, look at it. Look at it. He's just trying to find a way through.
So hungry as Quinn gets shown the door by MK Bourne there, and of course these guys look at the standing water. And these guys, as I was saying, the intermediates kick up 35 litres of water a second. The full wets kick up 75 litres of water a second. The slicks, they do nothing. These guys are going to be out there effectively Bambi on ice. So these guys are really, really. To be fair, this is fantastic driving. They've only they've got this far around the lap without putting it in the wall, because Vitinho and Connor and Corey are trying to go side by side of each other. They're on the intermediates, and Corey he gets the move done on Jamie.
There's a front wing gone. Oh my goodness me, whose is that? Is it Yuri's? I think it's Yuri's. Pete's already been at 4 places. He isn't even here. But we're all still going. Arnold now falls behind the second intermediate runner. Do you know, in fairness, he's having a superb lap considering the conditions. He's doing really well for this. And he might actually get to pit this time, because no one's brought a safety car out just yet. Obviously, touch wood on this one. We might see a huge amount of pit stops in this lap. And that's going to cause a bit of stacking in the pit lane. I think, honestly, you'd even see... Oh my god, it's happened again! You're kidding me. You're kidding. There's no one even out of the race. What happened?
I don't think I've ever laughed that much on commentary before.
Who brought that out?
Safety car, lap 14 of 25.
It's Jake and it's Matter crashing into each other, and they've blown their front wings off, and they get to pit. The rest of them, we're going to be in puncture territory for the sauce. And Kyle's got a rear right puncture, as we see Casper with a front right puncture. What is going on here? Quinn's into the pits. Goddess of he's got damage. Redmat's in as well, and he's actually stopped dead. And they'll all surely be on for intermediates. Jake's put the inters on. Interesting. Matter and Kyle have gone for wets. And I mean, honestly, if you're not going for the full wets now, I think you must be a bit certifiably insane. Now, Casper's going so slow down the pit because he's got a puncture. Not that it really matters, but inters for Casper. The rest are all onto the wets though, and let us say we're going to be in puncture range for the softs in a minute. How is that going to work?
I mean, we're over half distance now. We're 14 of 25. These guys have been racing in the wet for, I say racing, for now for about 6 laps. So, I mean, this is, has this been manipulated? We're going to have to speak with Mr. Jacko, because he was the one that's... They have to be raised to the head of JACKOCAR, who decided that we should have... In
fairness, have you seen Jacko? He's not necessarily doing very well. He's the lowest of the soft runners. So really, if he was manipulating it, it's absolutely backfired. So, I'm not sure you'll be able to throw around any fixing claims for this one.
So I would say to those that are watching at home and watching, let us know, who do you think's going to win this race? Because your guess is as good, because at the moment Pete's AI is on course for an absolutely storming victory here. Because behind you can see Matt in 14th position. He's made his stops. He's on the full wets. Kyle's on the full wets. Casper and Jake going for the intermediates. I mean, surely it's full wet, unless they know that it's going to go back to light rain come the end of this race. But even still, the standing water, the intermediates just won't work at the moment. And Quinn is out of the race. Oh. Is that on circuit? I believe it is. That's a big crash for Quinn there. He was on the full wet.
Full wets. Don't tell me we need to find an extreme wet. So we need to go one step above even that now. Again. Imagine being a soft runner seeing that happen to a full wet runner. You must be terrified right now.
And they're with a brand new full wets as well, so Quinn's got no excuses, unfortunately. So yeah, Danny is going to be probably a little bit red-faced after that one, but unfortunately for the speed race, he's the second retirement of this one. Of course, we lost Khalifa at the start of the race, straight into the wall, which brought out a VSC, one VSC of what feels like many, as we've had what, 3 safety cars now that have stopped Arnold, Jamie, Connor, Vitinho, Cam, MK Bourne, and Jacko, who's fallen to 16th now, so he's had a spin somewhere. He's now got no wing, so Jacko's actually gone for the safe strategy of actually just spinning and putting it in wall.
Yeah, well, that's assuming, of course, that the safety car doesn't go and come in at the end of this lap now. And then that would mean he's just going to lose even more time. But oh, Jesus, this isn't working out for him very well, is it? At all. Because, do you know, this might even keep the safety car one more lap, actually, because of how slow he's going to go. Because you'd expect it to go in this lap. These pit stops are going to be absolutely ridiculous. Jamie must be sitting here thinking, I've won the race. You know? Mind you, 8 seconds of penalties. The 2 drivers in the best position here, who are actually real, we're not going to count Pete, have got 8 seconds of penalties between them. That's going to cause even more of a headache. Even Matter, he's also got a penalty being in a good position on these wets. So, I mean, Jake on new inters, is he our best bet now? He's down in 12th at the minute. And that safety car isn't coming in, is it? So, that might
be a reprieve for Jacko, yeah. But I mean, if it doesn't come in, that is an extra lap, which is once again not helpful for these guys that have been on soft tyres since the start of the race. So your Arnells, your Connors, Vitinhos, and Mike and Peg Board in 11th position. They are going to be crying for the safety car to be coming in, but with Jess coming into the comments and saying she doesn't know why people aren't risking the 30-second time penalty for just boxing under the safety car.
But you know, actually, I agree with Jess, but at the same time, we've been practically under safety car for the last 10 laps. So what's to say that we don't just get more safety cars and, well, your penalty is going to leave you a bit screwed, isn't it? So that's the problem. Is there actually going to be a way to make 30 seconds in these conditions? But is the rain getting any lighter, do we think? I think that is actually getting a tad lighter. So perhaps intermediates are now coming back into favour. Which, if you're Kieran, you're thinking that's decent, I suppose, because you make a bit of a gap. And if you are Jake, again, as I say, liking that too. But I mean, there's no point even asking about favourites until they literally finish the race.
Yeah, I mean, none of us will be able to say, not even the drivers on the full wets. We've seen already that Danny Quinn put it in the wall with the full wets on, so even these guys on the tyres that are meant to be doing the job, unfortunately not getting it right. So it really will go down to the final lap of who's the bravest here. So, I mean, this has got Kia Baku written all over it. We in the Baku race this season in Kia, we were under a safety car for 82% of the race. I believe we only had 5 clean laps, so so potentially we're up there with breaking that record at the moment. And well, Kieran, as you say, intermediate tyres, is the rain getting lighter? It does look as though it may be a little bit lighter, but there's still standing water everywhere, so the inters won't be. I mean, you're going to have to look after them a lot and certainly stay on the racing line, because offline, look at the standing water. So safety car in this lap. Jacko looks as though he should be able to catch up to the back of the pack if he can floor it around this back stretch.
It'll be typical, We'll end up back in dry conditions by the end of this. And all this time that Arnold and Jamie and that have lost, because look how quickly the rain's stopping now. We'll end up going back to dries. Oh, don't start crashing now. Again. Well, I say we'll end up back towards dries. So perhaps suddenly we're looking a bit better for those guys that are stuck on the dries at the minute. They might actually stand a chance, because this rain's almost stopped. Saying that, it'll still mean half the grid's on the wrong tyres regardless of what we do. So let's just sit back and enjoy, if you can. And Corey will be going for this. Jamie will be going for this. And we are green again. And we're free ride already. Oh god. As we head down towards turn 1 again, looks like Jamie's diving up the inside. He's not going to make the corner there. Absolutely no chance. And he gets a penalty for his troubles as Kieran gets to hold on to the lead. Oh, not again. Yellow flags. MK Bourne. That's not a full front wing, so surely we will not end up needing a safety car for that. A few more losing the back end, as you would expect. I think Connor's tyres have absolutely had it. He's on a permanent 4-wheel drift at the minute. It's absolutely unbelievable. We're on board with Arnold. Can you even imagine how hard this is? I mean, this is just ridiculous. But he's keeping it facing in the right direction. But, of course, we are just waiting for that car in the wall, aren't we? That's the thing. Are they going to keep it green this time?
As Matt goes down the inside of Connor to take P7, he's on the full wets, and well, 3 wide at the start of this lap was between the guys on the softs, so clearly they wanted to go on with something. But it is Kieran from Jamie, from Corey, Kyle and Arnell. Arnell still ahead of Matt, who's finally catching up to him. And will he pass him? Yes, he does. Arnell, I mean, literally doesn't have anything.
Here we go again! Oh my goodness me, we've got a massive accident. That's going to be a safety car again, surely, because Red Matt's in the middle of the road with a puncture and no front wing. How have we not got a safety car there? Oh, is there another one? We've got another one off the road as well. Oh, Jesus. This is getting very treacherous now. But they aren't putting a safety car out this time. Or at least not yet. Oh, not another one. We got another big one. And that's another front wing going flying. But still, they're resisting the urge to put a safety car out. And Matters in the wall, big time. Corey has made the pit lane. That could be so crucial. Arnold's made the pit lane. Oh, bless. They're seeing some pit stops, finally. After 17 laps.
Vicinio with a rear right puncture. He's lucky to still be in this one. He had a big moment. Oh, is he going to go into the wall? He does. He takes up a front wing, and now he's going to have to reverse it. Oh, and there we go. MK Bourne just misses him, as we've got cars all over the second. In fact, we've now got a front wing right in the pit entry. So that's not
wings everywhere.
So this is, I mean, this is JACKOCAR. JACKOCAR all over. Look at Matt at the back. A puncture on the tyres. No front wing. He's probably sitting there. Oh, and round he goes.
This is disaster.
He's reset the track
so many times. He'll have minutes worth of penalties by the end of this lap. But he's making it.
The penalties are racking up now. We've just had a 5, a 3 and a 3. MK Bourne picks up a 5, so he picks up 8 seconds in a matter of corners. As well, it's Kieran leading this race by 4.8 seconds to Jamie, who's got a penalty. Yuri picks up another 3 seconds. He's down the order. He's down in 14th position. So we've got a split of tyres now. The guys are on full wets.
Oh, Jake's not winning. That's a big one, because he was in the best position to win this thing, but not anymore. He's not. Another yellow. Oh my Christ.
So we've got again. Who's that? CSA? It's Patino. He's gone and he's just stopped. So that's going to be another stop for the Brazilian. But into the box comes Kieran and Jamie. So your race leaders in. Is it for a new set of intermediates? It is for Kieran. I'm sure it will be for. We've got a yellow in sector 2. Who's that this time round?
Patino's off, but there's also someone else. It's Yuri. We're getting pretty close to some safety car action. Red Matt now leads this race, but it has to be said that Casper is probably now looking the favourite on the best tyres. And considering he's been round twice under green conditions, that's pretty miraculous, to be honest. But, well, he's now challenging. He's for the race lead, and we've got to keep our eye on this. Arnold as well is still fighting away. just to keep tabs on the stops. That's sort of how we're looking right now. So a few more 2 stops to be completed. But another yellow for Coutinho. He's going to get lapped in a minute, and he will not ghost, and that's going to be very frightening. As here comes Casper. We're side by side for the lead in these wet conditions. Casper doesn't want to risk it. He knows what it's like to fight in the rain, because he crashed last time he tried it. Oh, look at this! Oh my goodness! The car in the middle of the road. Is there any punctures? I'm amazed that we haven't got any punctures, but look at Kieran getting involved. He fancies this now as well. Casper leads, but for how long? It really is a 3-horse race as it stands. And Kieran, I reckon he might be about to go for this right now. And this is about to get very tasty. Another yellow. Coutinho is finally retired. Are we going to get a safety car for this? Because he's going to be in the middle of the road here. This is going to be a very tricky spot. Oh, look at that. That's so dangerous. But as we look at Kieran trying to go for the race lead, he can't find a way through just yet. But I'm sure he's going to be going for it as they head down towards turn 1, but not quite close up on this lap. Is anyone crashing into that car? That's MK Bourne! Oh my god! How is he still alive? Everything we're cutting to is just a serious accident waiting to happen. It's utter bedlam as we see Arnold into the pits. And we're still side by side.
I mean, if you look up chaos in the dictionary, you're going to find this race at the moment, because this is absolute ridiculous. We've got Jacko's losing positions now. He's just dropped behind Corey and behind Jamie. We've got the lead battle between now is Casper and Kieran. Casper, who somehow got away with no puncture, ran over 2 front wings on that last lap. Coutinho, who I counted, spun 7 times in, I believe it was 22 corners. Arnold picks up 5 seconds. He's now in 10th position on 13 seconds. He picks up another 3 to add to it. So we've got Corey on 14 seconds, Jamie on 21, Connor on 3.
Casper! How has he kept it on the road? Kieran's going to be loving that though. He'll be putting them under pressure, and he's going to go for it into the super fast chicane. Is this a good idea for Kieran? I'm not sure. Contact! And they're both sailing off the road, and through into the lead goes Kieran, and there's going to be a bit of controversy over that, but Kieran leads this race.
Lap 20 of 25, and well, our eyes are glued to this one. We hope yours are too, because it is Kieran versus Casper at the moment. These guys are going to be fighting out until the end. They've dropped Red Matt. Red Matt looks as though that. Well, in fact, Matt's still got a full front wing, so possibly just got caught out with that contact a little bit early on. But what can Casper do? Now goes from being the hunted to the hunter. He's now going to close on to Kieran, but Kieran looks as though he's had some pretty solid pace in the intermediate conditions. We've got a yellow in sector. And that is MK Bourne that's gone out. So is that going to bring out a safety car? Because that car is in the middle of the circuit, and the leaders will be coming around to it very, very shortly. So will it be cleared? So MK Bourne out this race. Looks as though we're going to we've expended our safety car usage. I think they've probably packed up and gone home for the day and just said, you guys just duke it out. Yet another yellow in sector 1, and it looks as though that's 3 cars, including Jacko, that are all bunched up with Matt. So it is this Red Matt that's gone around. So
someone's on dry tyres. That's why Red Matt's put the flipping dries on. That's a bit of a inspired decision. I'm assuming that means the rain's going to stop imminently. But I don't think I'm really going to.
He's not.
Yeah, he's he's in trouble now with this. Some would say he might have gone a bit early. That's a bizarre decision, isn't it?
Almost looks undrivable for Matt at the moment. He's just shipping time corner for corner now, and the guys, he's going to try and come back at Cam, but not going to have anything to do about that. But well, Connor now leads the battle between Arnell, Jacko and Cam, so that is the closest battle for the midfield. Of course, the lead fight is now between Kieran and Casper. However, Casper now sitting on a 3-second time penalty, so this is Kieran's to lose at this point.
Yes, which he will be very much hoping he doesn't lose it, but he has done it before when he's had a decent chance to win. And well, it would get him into the Hall of Fame, which will certainly make up for Japan, but he has to get there first. And it was in the closing stages of Japan when the track started to get very slippery. For whatever reason, everyone was spinning off, and he was one of them. So will they all keep it on the island? This will be a very interesting last 4 laps, especially when you're Connor and Jacko, who've just decided to ignore the rules and they haven't pitted for a second time yet. Probably could do with doing that at some point.
I think that those two are waiting on the fact that we might go dry at the end of this race, and they can come in and put a set of soft tyres on and go to the end. Surely that, because otherwise you would have boxed by now. We're on lap 22 of 25, about to turn 23.
Jacko's on dries.
Jacko now into the box.
I mean, it's clearly still wet out there, though. It's still raining.
Well, it didn't quite work out for Red Matt. He's out there on the soft tyres and, well, losing around about 0.2 of a second every corner. Jake Warrior's coming through. He's going to pass Jacko. Surely Jacko's coming out of the pit lane. Jake picks up 3 seconds at turn 1, adding his name to the list of penalties tonight. But well, we'll see what Jacko does on his out lap, as he suddenly realises it's wet.
Yes, there's a potential for some lap runners to get involved, by the way, in the lead fight. We've got Yuri being called up, and that could lead to some tasty action. Because, oh, he's in the pits, okay. Is he going to go for dries as well? Have they just started a pact? Let's all go on dries for the lols of it. I mean, they spent so long on the dries, in the rain, perhaps they're confident now that they'll make it work. But, yeah, odd decision making.
They clearly worked well, so we might as well just try him again. But, I mean, going back to Pete's AI, he's made 5 stops, so Pete's prediction maybe not coming true. No. He's down in 13th position, but Kieran's still leading this one, 0.8 of a second to Casper, so Casper's not being dropped by Kieran, and we are, this will dry up, because
this will. It's practically dry already, look at it! Where's the water gone? It's a dry track!
As you say, it is completely evaporated into the surface as if nothing has ever existed. It's not like we've just seen a passing monsoon. Now, do we see Casper and Kieran brave it out for the final few laps on intermediates, or do they come in for dries?
Well, they've got a big enough gap to afford to, you'd
imagine.
Oh,
Casper's gone round! Casper's around and he's in the wall! So, those intermediates are not working. And that's a reset to track.
That is a bad sign, isn't it? But it means that Kieran, if he fancies a pit stop, well, he can go for it now, but does he want to? And that is quite a tricky question, this. Does he want to? Red Matt's back into the pits, now that it's stopped raining. So that makes sense. He must have had an accident.
It's a front wing change and another set of softs, so unfortunately for Matt, his day goes from bad to worse, as all the speed guys now down in the bottom 4, if not out of this one.
He's staying out. Kieran's staying out. What if we end up in a Lando Norris, like, reverse situation here? Where the leader just doesn't want to make the first move? Because surely Casper might, but he stays out too. They're all staying out.
Jacko's the only one out there on the softs at the moment, so he's got to make up 1:30 in the next lap and a half.
Wow. Perhaps it's tad unlikely. I suppose they're waiting for the DRS to be re-enabled. They're perhaps waiting for that, and by that point it'll only be 1 lap left in the race, and no one's pitting. So I suppose there's no point pitting now, because there'll only be 1 lap to go afterwards. But you can see Jamie fighting with Kyle into the wall nearly. But well, DRS is now enabled, so yeah, Jacko might be on for some fastest lap, perhaps.
Yeah, he's losing time though. He's already lost 4 seconds to Kieran on this lap already. So the intermediates, it looks as though they're still within that window as Matt closes in on him behind him on the intermediate. So yeah, it's still intermediate weather. However, it does very much look dry to us. But Kieran now leading. Well, he's got 1 more tour of this. He's got some lap traffic up ahead of him, which he'll want to clear pretty sharpish. And I believe that is that Red Matt. Oh, is it Pete?
Yeah,
sorry.
Pete's not here. So,
and it won't get out the way, as we've seen already this season.
Yeah, so...
Oh!
That was a bit tight.
That was a nice Pete defensive move from his AI there, as he moved late. But there we go, Kieran now passing the lap traffic, in fact, up in front of him. Oh, we saw that from a distance.
Yeah, that looked very late, didn't it, from the matter?
And that was, I believe that was the Matter and Jacko that got tangled up there. So as Jacko picks up 3 seconds at turn 1, so they should catch Jack on this last lap. But it is.
Look at Redman, he's hounding all over Kieran, and Kieran just lets him go. But that would have been a bit of a nervy moment. He's just begging now that he can see the checkered flag, frankly, and win the All-Star race, because he didn't really go his way in the Championship 5 in the end. and it'll be a good way to come back from that. Arnold will, I'm sure, be feeling not very happy about this, but considering he did 17 laps on those softs and he's still in the top 6, I'd say that's worthy of a... Yeah, it's quite a good achievement. Because I have no idea how he's ended up so close to the leaders. But, yes, I think Matt has been in the wall, by the way. Yes, that is definitely front wing damage. He's just decided to ignore the track limits now. I think he's had enough.
Yeah, taking the Fernando Alonso Abu Dhabi route there is the matter. Is well, Kieran coming around the second sector now on the final time. 25 laps done. Well, it has been a chaotic race here for the JACKOCAR All-Star Race 2021. We've absolutely loved it. Hopefully you have as well. And these guys, when they get back and they get to watch this one, I'm sure they'll enjoy this and will probably want to have a stiff drink after that race, because I'm not quite sure if if anyone feels like they've got anything out of this one. But Kieran, on a completely dry track on intermediate tyres, is going to come up to the checker flag and be your all-star champion for 2021. And fantastically for him, he missed out on the championship 5, and this time he is your race winner. He is your MVP for the all-star race. Casper in P2, he's going to drop down. Now this is where penalties is going to come into play, because it looks as though Corey, the first all-star champion, might lose out on P3 to Kyle. He had 14 seconds of penalty, so he's got an 11-second window to Kyle. Kyle should snatch P3, and he does.
Yes. Oh my god, that's a horror crash. That's a horrified accident. Yuri and Mar haven't even made the line. Oh, and Arnold's into this as well. Oh my goodness me. Look at this. That is pandemonium across the line.
It's a car
Cam
park.
doesn't know what he's driving into. Look at, I mean, I think
it's Spa 98 all over again.
I think this sums up the night, really, doesn't it? An absolute car crash from some people's perspective. I mean, what can you even say about that? What a night. I mean, it's a weird one, because most of that race didn't really happen in the race. As, I'm sure Jamie tried to get involved in the car.
He did well to miss him, yeah, didn't he?
But he actually did quite well to miss it in the end, yeah. Still a few more cars to come across the line, and two of them are side by side. Jacko and Redmat, they were going for it, but they've ended up, with Redmat winning out there. Oh no, they've avoided it. They've avoided the accident, well done. And that ends, well, quite a bizarre race. It was really good in the dry, because they were able to actually fight each other. Just when it rained, it got very, 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 very funny. And
yes.
Yes.
Well, I think that it's a perfect JACKOCAR race.
Yeah, I think that sums up JACKOCAR as a whole, that. And, well, it brings to an end all of our racing for 2021. Season 4 of JACKOCAR as a whole is officially over now. And the last winner of 2021 is going to be Kieran. So well done to him. Finally winning a JACKOCAR race. Took him long enough, but he's done it in the end. Casper 2nd, Kyle 3rd, and Corey 4th. Connor 5th. Can 6th, Arnold 7th, Jamie 8th, J Luke 9th, and Jake 10th. Redmat 11th with Jetto 12th, Pete 13th despite not even racing. And we'll try and get you some medical updates on the matter and Yuri after that horror crash across the line at the end. They were officially classified as 14th and 15th, but the air ambulance is needed for those two. NK Bourne 16th, Vitinho 17th, Quid 18th, and Khalifa, poor old Khalifa, didn't even get off the starting line. Although, in fairness, judging by how that race went, I imagine he might well have enjoyed being a spectator more than a racer for that one.
Yeah, absolutely so. He probably missed out on, I don't think I've laughed that much in commentary, whether in real life or in sim before. That was fantastic. I loved it. I'm sure these guys would have dramatically thought otherwise, but yeah, what a race, and sets us up nicely for 2022. As you say, when the dry running was happening, we had that fantastic 5-car battle for P1. But well, yeah, thanks for having me along, Owen. That was great.
Yeah, that was good fun, and we did sort of skim over the fact that Connor blatantly broke the rules, but we'll just claim it was his Joker for the season. But yeah, that was good fun having you along with me, Gareth, and I'm sure Jacko is a bit jealous he wasn't in the commentary box, because that was just a disaster for him, that race. Serves him right though for abandoning us again. So like I said, that does end our sort of stuff for 2021. We won't really be back until, I guess, March time. But I will be here. I'm sure Gareth will be here in some way, shape, or form. Jacko will be as well, and hopefully we'll have all the big runners from Season 4 in the various tiers back at it again to try and go for another championship. But for now, we will enjoy our time off. I don't know if the new season will start before or after our next karting trip as well, so if we aren't starting the season before karting, I'll see you at karting. If not, then, well, I'm sure we'll hype that all up when the new season starts. But yes, enjoy your Christmas and your New Year as well. Hope it's a bit of a better year than this next year than it was this year, but we'll see. But yeah, from me and Gareth, that has been your All-Star race, and Kieran is the champion of champions effectively, which that'll surprise him, but maybe it'll stop moaning over the break. But until next time, have a lovely time, and we will see you at some point in the future. Bye bye. Safe travels.